You don't notice it at first. The way people slowly stop valuing you, not because you changed, but because you became too easy to reach, too quick to respond, too predictable. Always there, always ready, always available. And at some point, your presence stops feeling special. This is the moment most people misunderstand. They think being available proves loyalty, kindness, value. But in reality, constant availability quietly erases your importance, because what is always there is rarely appreciated. The shift begins the moment you pull back. Not dramatically, not emotionally, just quietly. You stop being instantly reachable. You stop saying yes to everything. You stop rearranging your life for people who never rearranged theirs for you. And suddenly, everything changes. People start noticing your absence more than they ever noticed your presence. At the core of this is psychology. People are wired to value what feels limited. When something is always accessible, the brain stops registering it as valuable. It becomes background noise, like air, like silence, like the person who always replies instantly. But the moment access is no longer guaranteed, attention returns. Scarcity creates focus, and focus creates perceived value. When you are always available, you remove the need for effort. And without effort, there is no investment. And without investment, there is no respect. That's why the moment you stop being available, people start chasing. Think about how people behave with you right now. If you reply instantly every time, they take their time. If you always say yes, they stop asking. If you are always there emotionally, they stop valuing your support, not because they are bad people, but because you trained them to expect it. And expectations, when constantly met without resistance, become invisible. So when you change that pattern, even slightly, it disrupts everything. You don't reply right away. They notice. You don't show up as often. They feel it. You don't give the same energy. They question it. Over-availability is often driven by fear. Fear of losing connection, fear of being replaced, fear of not being liked, fear of being forgotten, but that strategy backfires. It tells people, without words, I will always be here, no matter how you treat me. The moment you stop being available is about reclaiming your time, your energy, your attention. Your presence should not be automatic, it should be intentional. You are not a background character. You are not a convenience doer, not an always-on resource. Others are forced to adjust. Instead of jumping to reply, you pause. Instead of saying yes, you consider. Instead of giving energy, you measure it. In that space, you gain control. Unpredictability creates attention. This is about being selective. You still care, but you don't overgive. You still respond, but not instantly. Your attention feels earned, not guaranteed. You stop replying immediately, and suddenly they double text. You become less available, and they try harder. Accessibility shapes perception. When you stop being constantly available, you signal self-respect. You show that your time matters. Real power is subtle. You don't announce your change. You embody it. You let silence exist. You let messages wait. The moment you stop being available reveals who actually values you. Some people will lean in, others will disappear. And that's clarity. Not everyone deserves access to you. You choose where your energy goes, and that choice increases your value. Think about the most respected people you know. They are not the most available. Their time feels limited. Respect follows boundaries, not availability. Instead of reacting to everyone else's needs, you start prioritizing your own. And that alone changes everything. Because now, your energy is focused. Power is not in doing more. It's in doing less. But with intention, it's in being comfortable with silence. If you want to build that kind of mindset, that's exactly what this channel is about. Becoming someone whose presence speaks for itself. Because once you've reached that point, you don't need to chase anyone. They come to you. Something is shifting within you. It isn't a loud declaration or a sudden explosion of will. It is a quiet ripple across a calm morning ocean. In the middle of a noisy, frantic city, you have found a point of stillness. While the world rushes by, you remain remarkably, powerfully composed. You used to react instantly to every provocation. Now, there is a deliberate space between the stimulus you receive and the response you choose to give. Look at the eyes. The frantic, darting gaze of the past is gone. In its place is a steady, unwavering focus that penetrates the chaos around you. In the heat of a loud discussion, you find yourself pausing. Your hand rests calmly on the table, a silent testament to your growing internal strength. There is a loud persona we all once carried. It was defined by explosive emotions, jagged lines of frustration, and constant wearying mental noise. But now, a quiet persona is emerging. One with clean lines, a steady gaze, and an internal peace that radiates outward without saying a word. This is the result of a profound mental rewiring. Deep within, your neural pathways are glowing with the steady light of ancient, timeless wisdom. Each time you clicked subscribe, each time you chose to listen instead of distract yourself, you were planting the seeds of a new discipline. The constant exposure to Stoic principles acts like a steady drip of water on hard stone, eventually shaping even the most stubborn of habits. Recall a recent moment where you were about to lose control. You felt the familiar impulse to yell, to break, or to surrender to anger. But then, the emotional brake kicked in. Inside your mind, the chaos was instantly replaced by a serene, vast landscape of logic and clarity. On one side is the old reactive habit, full of red tones and chaotic patterns. On the other is the new, aware response of a master. The new response is structured. It is composed of logic and geometry. It represents the ultimate human freedom, the freedom of choice over impulse. Consider the digital noise that surrounds us every day. Distorted faces and static screaming for your attention, trying to pull you into the fray. Compare that to the beauty of structured thought, clear architectural sketches of the mind, logic, reason, purposeful action in a world of distraction. In your professional life, the shift is becoming visible to everyone. You state a decision clearly, you do not feel the need to over-explain. Your colleagues notice the change. They don't see the internal struggle. They only see the solid result. They offer respect through their attentive body language. This is the compound effect of your practice. Like the sun rising and setting day after day, the changes build upon one another. You are becoming more grounded. You are physically present in every room you enter, while others remain lost in the screens in their palms. Your evolution is now becoming unstoppable. You move independently through a crowd of people who are desperately seeking external validation from strangers. They are chasing floating-like icons and staring into mirrors, searching for a self that doesn't exist. You are looking inward, where the light is steady. The transformation is nearly complete. On the outside, you might look the same to a stranger, but the energy you radiate has fundamentally changed. A halo of clarity surrounds you. Like the rays of a sun in a classic comic, your aura is one of quiet strength and unshakable resolve. The process is working. This internal advantage you have gained is the greatest tool you will ever own in this chaotic modern world. A steady stream of light is now cutting through the dark, noisy background of existence, leading you toward a higher version of yourself. Follow that light. It leads away from the trivial and toward the mastery of the self. The journey is long, but you are already on your way. This channel is just your guide, a mirror for the wisdom you already possess. The real work happens in the moments no one else sees. Stay on this path. The quiet life is not a weak life. It is the most powerful life one can truly lead. The process is working. The evolution continues. Remember, the process is working. Mastery is within your reach today, and every day you choose to be aware. You don't notice it at first. The way people slowly stop valuing you, not because you changed, but because you became too easy to reach, too quick to respond, too predictable. Always there, always ready, always available. And at some point, your presence stops feeling special. This is where most people get it wrong. They think being available proves loyalty, kindness, value. But in reality, constant availability quietly erases your importance, because what is always there is rarely appreciated. And this is exactly why most people stay stuck. Not because they don't understand the idea, but because they don't reinforce it daily. They hear it once, feel motivated for a moment, then fall back. Always replying fast, always saying yes, always being there. That's why nothing changes. The shift begins the moment you pull back. Not dramatically, not emotionally, just quietly. You stop being instantly reachable. You stop saying yes to everything. You stop rearranging your life for people who never rearranged theirs for you. And suddenly, everything changes. People start noticing your absence more than they ever noticed your presence. But here's something even more important. Most people can't maintain this shift alone, because the world constantly pulls you back into old habits. Notifications, expectations, Pressure to respond, pressure to be liked. That's why reinforcement matters. That's why environment matters. That's why what you consume every day matters. At the core of this is something deeply human. People are wired to value what feels limited. When something is always accessible, the brain stops registering it as valuable. It becomes background noise, expected, taken for granted. But the moment access is no longer guaranteed, attention returns. Scarcity creates focus, and focus creates value. Think about how people behave with you right now. If you reply instantly every time they take their time. If you always say yes, they stop asking respectfully. If you are always there emotionally, they stop valuing your support. Real change doesn't come from one decision. It comes from repetition, from hearing the same truths again and again until they become part of how you think, until pausing before replying feels natural, until saying no feels normal, until silence feels comfortable. That's why subscribing changes things. It changes what you consume every day. Instead of random noise, you start feeding your mind with control. Your behavior is shaped by what you repeatedly see and hear. If you consume content that reinforces silence and self-respect, you begin to embody it. Watch what happens when you actually stay consistent. You stop replying immediately, and suddenly they double text. You stop initiating, and they start reaching out. You feel different, calmer, more in control, less reactive. And that feeling is addictive. Small daily reminders create massive long-term change. A short video that reminds you not to react. A long video that deepens your understanding. The moment you stop being available also reveals who actually values you. When you pull back, some people will step forward. The moment you stop being available is the moment you start becoming valuable. You don't need to chase. You don't need to prove.